Hello, my amazing children. Today, I am not reading a story. I am telling you a little story. I was cleaning out my cupboards today, and I found this. This is a moon pie. Now, it says moon pie since 1917. When I was a little girl, my granddaddy, he used to call me Buddy, and so as I got older, I called him Buddy right back, and so he was my buddy, and I called him Buddy. And he would buy me a moon pie. Back then, the moon pies were about that big, or at least that's how I remember them, because I was a small child. Isn't it amazing to think that Grandma Carla was once a small child? But I was. And my granddaddy would take me to go get a moon pie and an RC Cola. And that was our treat. And we would go get our treat in the middle of his workday. My granddaddy was a farmer, but when he got older, he had to put in some time working for the state in order to get his Social Security money. And so he drove dump trucks for the state so that he could get his Social Security. As best as I can understand it, that's the way it went. And so I remember my granddaddy worked way out in this quarry where there was a lot of dirt and a lot of rock and a lot of trucks. And sometimes he would take me with him because all he did all day was go and load up his truck, and he'd drive his truck to the right place, and he'd dump his truck off, and then he'd do it again. And after we'd done this for several runs, he would say, "Come on, buddy, let's go get an RC Cola and a moon pie." And there was nothing I liked better than to go with my granddaddy and get an RC Cola and a moon pie. So, there were other times that my granddaddy did special things with me. Sometimes he took me fishing, and we would go fishing out on a lake, and he had a little boat. I don't know whether it was his boat or whether he borrowed it, because it was a long time ago. But he had a little boat, and we would go fishing. And I loved going fishing with my granddaddy. But he always made me put the worm on the hook. He wanted me to learn how to do things by myself. I didn't like to put the worm on the hook, but he taught me how to do it, and I grew up knowing how to put my own worm on my own hook. It's kind of nasty. Another thing that my granddaddy did is he would sit on me. And he would sit on me and pretend like he didn't know I was there. And he would say, "Where's little Carla? Where's little Carla?" And I'd be going, "I'm under here, buddy, I'm under here." And he'd act like he didn't hear me. "Where's little Carla?" Then finally, after I yelled and screamed, he said, "Oh, there she is. There's little Carla. Did I sit on you, little Carla?" And I would just giggle and giggle and giggle. A lot of giggling went on. So, one time, I don't know if I should tell you this one. It's kind of embarrassing, but I was a very, very little girl. And one time, my granddaddy, Buddy, took me to church. It was his responsibility to get me to church that day. I think he had to get me to church because my mama was playing the piano. I can't remember why. Like I said, it was very little. But he took me to church, and then lo and behold, I was probably 3 or 4. I'm not sure. But all of a sudden, he found out that little Carla, underneath her dress, had no underwear on. Wow, that was embarrassing. I think he was probably more embarrassed than I was, but I heard this story later on. Another funny thing that my buddy did was he always treated my mommy, who was his only child. Sometimes he treated her like she was a little boy. And sometimes he called her son. I guess he really wanted a little boy, but he got a little girl, and that's the only baby he ever got. So when my daddy, who married my mama eventually, came to eat dinner for the very first time with my grandparents, my mama's, Mama and Daddy, Buddy and Mama, I called them. My grandmother had fixed this beautiful spread of food, and my granddaddy looked at my mom, who was trying to have on her best behavior and be as ladylike as possible for her new boyfriend. He said, "What's wrong, son? Did you eat before he came?" And she was mortified because he was implying that she usually ate an awful lot of food, but she was reining it in because she had a new boyfriend there visiting. So, as I was cleaning out my cupboard, all of these memories came flooding back to me. And I wanted to just take a moment to celebrate my granddaddy. My granddaddy left this earth very early. He was, I think, 58 years old. That's young. Grandma Carla's 61. But he had a very bad cancer. And I remember sitting beside his bed and just praying for him and holding his hand and thinking lots about all of the fun times we spent together. Before my granddaddy left this earth, he put his faith and trust in the Lord Jesus Christ. And I am so thankful that he did. Because he is the first one besides the Lord Jesus that I'm going to run up and give a big hug to when I get to heaven. And I'm going to say, "Hey, buddy, remember me? It's Buddy," because that's what he used to call me. And so, in honor of my buddy, I am going to eat this moon pie and drink this cola in honor of my granddaddy, whose name was Samuel Jack Campbell. There was an Edward in there somewhere. I think it was Samuel Edward Campbell, but he went by Jack. So here is to my buddy, and While I'm eating my moon pie and RC Cola, why don't you think of somebody in your life special? Either they're still around and you need to honor them, or maybe they've gone on to be in heaven and you can still honor them by remembering them. And this is Grandma Carla, and I love you.